Now here's why this is a war and not a simple transfer. On one side, the official Madrid narrative, and it's a powerful one. Sky Sports reports the club is confident Vinícius will stay and sign, with Mourinho valuing him enormously and treating him as untouchable. ESPN adds that Madrid have thrown the decision into the player's own hands. Sign or find another path. That's the consensus. That's what almost everyone is telling you. But that's exactly what makes what this channel has learned so explosive, because our reporting cuts directly against that consensus. If Arsenal already have personal terms aligned, then Madrid's public confidence is either bluff or a board that hasn't grasped how far this has gone. Each side wants something different. Arsenal want a superstar to define an era. Madrid want to avoid losing an icon for nothing next summer. And Vinícius, he wants to be valued. In money, in role, in respect. 3 forces, 1 collision. So where does this actually go? There are 3 realistic paths. First, the renewal Madrid keep promising. It's the scenario Sky and Florentino's camp treat as most likely, with Mourinho pulling the talks back together. Before continuing, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos, and tell us in the comments which city you're watching from. Second, and this is where our reporting points. The Arsenal move gathers real momentum, agents take that big offer to the table, and a club-to-club negotiation opens that nobody in Spain saw coming. Third, the deadlock drags into the season, which is the nightmare for Madrid, because from January Vinícius could negotiate freely with any club outside Spain and walk away for free in 2027. Which is most probable? Publicly, the weight still leans toward a renewal. But if the personal terms with Arsenal are truly aligned, the ground shifts overnight, and a sale this summer, once unthinkable, becomes the move that saves Madrid from losing him for nothing. And now the detail that ties it all together. Watch what Madrid have been doing quietly in the background. While the Vinícius saga burned, the club chased a young winger, Yan Diomande, a player who happens to operate in exactly the areas Vinícius owns. A coincidence? Maybe. Or a club preparing a replacement before the storm hits. Pair that with ESPN's line that it's now down to the player to decide. That's not a board begging its star to stay. That's a board bracing for a goodbye. And when a hierarchy that once said forever suddenly starts building for life without you, that silence might be the loudest clue of all. So let's separate what we actually know from what's still moving in the shadows. Confirmed. Vinícius Júnior's contract runs until June 2027. The standoff over money and image rights is real, and José Mourinho has walked straight into the middle of it, publicly treating the Brazilian as untouchable. That's the version Sky Sports and ESPN keep pushing, and it's the version most of the football world has accepted. Real Madrid stays confident. Florentino keeps smiling. The renewal, they say, is only a matter of time. But here's what this channel has learned, and it cuts straight against that comfortable narrative. Arsenal have already agreed personal terms in principle with Vinícius, and his agents are preparing to carry a major offer from the English club to Madrid's table. If that's true, and we stand by our reporting, then everything Madrid is telling the public looks less like confidence and more like a club that hasn't realized how far this has already gone. Now think about it honestly. The unsigned contract, the Clásico explosion, the silence, the quiet hunt for a replacement. Are those the signs of a man about to renew, or a man who's already halfway out the door? The public consensus says he stays. But consensus has been spectacularly wrong before, and the biggest transfers in history always started as the ones no one believed. So I want to hear from you. Does Vinícius stay and sign, force his way to Arsenal, or drag this saga into a free agent nightmare? Drop your verdict in the comments, hit that like button hard, and subscribe right now. Because when this bomb finally goes off, you'll want to hear it here first. There's a sentence Vinícius Júnior muttered as he walked off the Bernabeu pitch. Short, barely audible. Almost no one caught it. But months later, it's still echoing through the corridors of Madrid. That night, in the middle of a Clásico, with the entire stadium watching, he walked past his own manager with a face like stone, and said something that changed everything. And now, thousands of miles away in North London, a Premier League giant believes it has found its opening. Why would the best player of a generation suddenly stop protecting his own future at the biggest club on earth? There's one detail almost everyone ignored, and it flips this whole story on its head. To understand how big this is, remember who we're talking about. Vinícius isn't just another name on the team sheet. He arrived in 2018 as a raw kid from Flamengo and became one of the most decisive attackers on the planet. He scored in Champions League finals against Liverpool and Borussia Dortmund. He's passed 125 goals for the club. For years, he was the face of Real Madrid's entire project for the next decade. Florentino Perez himself said during his election campaign that he wanted Vinícius at the Bernabeu forever. So, when a player of that magnitude enters the final year of his contract without signing, nobody treats it as a footnote. It's the biggest saga in European football right now, and the longer he waits, the louder the whole world asks one question: why? And the clues go back a long way. Rewind to February 2025. It was Vinícius himself who said publicly that he hoped renewal talks would begin, a gesture from a man who wanted to stay. But time passed, and according to the Spanish press, months went by with total silence between the club and the players' representatives. Then came the moment nobody forgets. October 2025, the season's first Clásico. Vinícius is substituted. He explodes. He storms off screaming down the tunnel. And from that point, his relationship with then-manager Xabi Alonso turned toxic. Reports at the time claimed that as long as Alonso stayed, the chances of renewal were basically zero. The Spaniard was described as a genuine negative factor in the talks. Every brick in this wall was laid slowly, quietly, one at a time, and almost no one noticed they were building towards something far bigger than a contract dispute. Because while Madrid hesitated, someone in England was already watching. From there, the pressure only grew. Negotiations that had already crawled since January 2025 ground to a complete halt. The Spanish press pointed to the core issue: money. Reports suggested Vinícius was asking for figures that would make him the highest earner at the club, above even Mbappé, plus a huge renewal bonus and control over a large share of his own image rights. Madrid pushed back. Meanwhile, his form dipped across 2 seasons following his Ballon d'Or heartbreak, and a fan base that once worshipped him started to split. Whistles crept into the Bernabeu, and then the earthquake. Real Madrid changed managers. Xabi Alonso was gone. José Mourinho walked in. Officially, that was supposed to fix everything. Sources say Alonso's exit removed the biggest obstacle to a renewal. But that's exactly where the official story and what this channel has learned begin to pull violently in opposite directions. Because while Spain talked about peace, London was preparing to strike. Here's the twist: almost no one in the mainstream is reporting yet. This channel has learned that Arsenal have reached an agreement in principle with Vinícius Júnior over personal terms. Let that sink in. Not casual interest. Not monitoring the situation. According to our reporting, the personal side is aligned. The player and the Gunners have found their understanding. The next step is the one that turns a rumor into an earthquake. Vinícius's agents are preparing to sit down with Real Madrid, carrying a major offer from the English club. This is the detail that reframes everything you thought you knew. Every silence, every unsigned contract, every frustrated gesture on that pitch. Suddenly, it doesn't look like a negotiation tactic. It looks like a man who had already started imagining himself somewhere else. And that changes the entire meaning of this saga.